In this video, I'm going to teach you how to play a banjo chop, or a vamp. The banjo chop is the banjo's way of being a rhythmic instrument like the guitar. It is its own way to create the boom-chick rhythm that is very present in bluegrass. The boom-chick can be heard in two different instruments. It can be heard in the bass, which is the boom, and the mandolin, which is the chick. On guitar, and the way that they strum in a bluegrass rhythm strum is they'll play a bass note and then a strum. That is the boom bass note, and the chick is the strum. So the banjo kind of borrows rhythmic elements from other bluegrass instruments to create our own version of a chop. Here's what they sound like. Now, there are three elements that happen to create a chop. There is the bass note, the pinch, and the release of the fingers, or cutting off the strings vibrations to create a dead sound. Chopping can appear in all chord shapes, the F shape, the D shape, and the bar shape. There's a slight modification for if you want to play C up here on the 1st and 2nd fret, but we'll go over that later. Let's learn how to chop on a G chord in the F position. Get your left hand up in the F shape G chord position. And the first step to a chop is to pluck the lower D string with your thumb. The next thing that happens is you pinch the G, B, and D strings, the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings, with your thumb, index, and middle finger. So, both steps together sound like this. And that's all your right hand has to do. Now, the third and final step of the chop, probably the most important, is the muffling of the strings vibrating, creating that dead sound with your left hand fingers. One way that I like to describe it is you are putting pressure on the strings, right? So you're gripping the neck almost, and then all you have to do is think about releasing. Your fingertips never leave the strings. They just stop the sound. Your fingertips are just resting on the strings, and you'll hear the sound stop, like this. Again. This slow speed is a good way to practice a chop. It really allows you to hear what string might not be muffled, or am I not releasing the strings enough, or am I not releasing enough pressure on the strings, kind of thing. Really walk through the steps of the chop at a really slow pace, and that will help the coordination as well. If you want to break it down even further, you can take out that bass note that happens first and just practice pinch, pressure release. Pinch, pressure release. Let's try it in a D-shaped position. Let's try up the neck. So I'm in my G chord in a D-shaped position. These are on frets 7, 8, and 9. The same 3 steps occur: bass note with the thumb, thumb, index, middle pinch on the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st finger, and then a pressure release with your left hand. One thing to note about the right hand placement is when you're chopping, you want to move your hand closer to the neck, further away from the bridge. This helps create a warmer tone, a softer tone, which is a better sound to have during backup. Now to get to the exception during this down the neck C position. Notice how the F shape and the D shape, they have all of your fingers covering all of the strings. There's no open strings that you're playing with your right hand. They are all being fretted. In the C position down the neck here, we have one open string, the 3rd string G. That's open. Now this is a problem during a chop because we need to release pressure on the string. We need to mute the string. So if your finger isn't on the string can't be muted. So one way to adjust this is in the pinch step of the chop. Instead of chopping with your thumb, index, and middle finger on the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st string, you'll just chop with your index and middle finger on the 2nd and 1st string. You'll still play the bass note and then just pinch on the 2 strings that are being fretted. There you go. That is the modification that you need for the C down the neck. So you've been practicing your chops slowly so that you can make sure that your pressure release with your left hand is truly muting all of the strings. Well, how do you speed it up? One way you can speed it up is with a metronome. Using a metronome will help you understand the timing of the chop. So for a metronome, the click that you hear will be the bass note, and the empty space is the pinch release. So the empty space has 2 parts. Both the pinch and the release have to happen evenly within the empty space between the clicks of the metronome. And now you know how to play a chop or a vamp on the banjo. Remember that how this fits into context is your thumb are the bass notes and your pinch is what the mandolin plays. Hope that helps.